For decades, the millionaire status was the ultimate finish line. It was the dream. If you hit that seven-figure mark, you were set for life. You had the house, the car, the freedom, and the peace of mind to never check a price tag again. But here is a chilling reality check. If you retire today with exactly $1 million in the bank, you might be back at work within a decade. In the 1980s, $1 million could buy you a lifestyle of true luxury. Today, in many American cities, it barely buys you a comfortable middle-class existence. The goalposts haven't just moved, they've been uprooted and dragged. Miles down the road? So, if $1 million is the old dream, what is the new reality? Today, we're breaking down the new number for retirement, why your savings are shrinking even when you aren't spending, and the hidden economic forces that turn the American dream into a moving target. We've been lied to by an outdated math equation. For years, financial advisors pushed what they called the 4% rule. The idea was simple. If you have $1 million, you withdraw 4% or $40,000 every year, adjusted for inflation, and your money should last 30 years. But there's a massive problem with that math in today's world. $40,000 a year. Let that sink in for a moment. After taxes, in most states, you're looking at maybe $3,000 a month. Now, subtract a mortgage or rising rent. Subtract health insurance, which averages $1,200 a month for a retired couple. Subtract the cost of a bag of groceries, which has jumped 25% in just the last few years. Suddenly, your millionaire lifestyle looks a lot like living paycheck to paycheck. The problem is threefold. Inflation is eating your purchasing power. Healthcare costs are exploding. And ironically, we are living too long. $1 million was a fortune when the average life expectancy was 70. But when you're likely to live to 90, that $1 million has to stretch until it snaps. To understand how we got here, we have to look back. Imagine it's 1980. You've worked 40 years at a manufacturing plant or a mid-level office. You retire with a golden watch and a defined benefit, pension. This meant your company promised to pay you a set check every month for the rest of your life. Between that and Social Security, you were golden. But in the early 80s, a quiet shift happened. Companies realized pensions were expensive. So, they introduced the 401k. Suddenly, the risk shifted from the corporation to you. You were no longer guaranteed a retirement. You were now an amateur investor, responsible for managing your own future. Let's look at a couple named Dave and Susan. In the mid-90s, they decided $1 million was their target. They saved diligently. They skipped expensive vacations. They hit their goal right on time. But when they sat down to look at the world they were retiring into, they realized a house that cost $150,000 when they started saving now costs over $500,000. A car that cost $15,000 now costs nearly $50,000. Their destination stayed the same, but the cost of the ticket tripled. Dave and Susan didn't fail. The currency failed them. There is a hidden system at play here that most people don't notice until it's too late. It's called lifestyle inflation, combined with sequence of returns, risk first. Let's talk about the silent tax. The government tells us inflation is 3 or 4%, but your personal inflation is often much higher. If you're a retiree, your biggest expenses are healthcare and housing, two sectors, where prices have outpaced general inflation for decades. While a TV might be cheaper than it was in 1990, a knee replacement or a month in assisted living certainly isn't, but the real hidden truth is the volatility of the modern market. In the past, you could put your $1 million into a savings account or a certificate of deposit and earn 5, 7, or even 10% interest with zero risk. You could live off the interest and never touch the principal. Today, for the last 15 years, interest rates were pinned near zero for a long time. To get any kind of return, retirees were forced to gamble in the stock market. This creates what experts call sequence of returns risk. If the market drops 20% in the first year of your retirement, while you are also withdrawing money to live, your portfolio might never recover. You could go broke while the market is at an all-time high, simply because the timing of your retirement was off by 12 months. So, if $1 million isn't enough, what is? Economists and wealth managers have been crunching the numbers. And the new number for a comfortable, secure retirement in the United States has shifted dramatically. For a couple living in a medium cost of living area, think suburbs of Atlanta, Dallas, or Phoenix, the new baseline is $2.5 million. Now, don't panic. Let's break down why. If you have $2.5 million, that 4% rule now gives you $100,000 a year. After taxes, you're taking home roughly $75,000 to $80,000. In today's economy, $80,000 is what's required to cover a modern mortgage, comprehensive secondary health insurance, reliable transportation, and the ability to travel once or twice a year. It provides a buffer. If the market crashes, you have enough of a margin that you don't have to sell your stocks at the absolute bottom. If you live in a high-cost area like New York, San Francisco, or Seattle, that number jumps to $4 million. The math is brutal, but it's honest. We are living through a period where millionaire is no longer a synonym for rich, is now the baseline for being self-sufficient. This isn't just about numbers on a spreadsheet. This is about the psychological toll on the American worker. There is a growing phenomenon called retirement anxiety. We have millions of people in their 50s and 60s who have done everything right. They worked hard, they saved, they played by the rules, and yet they feel like they're standing on a collapsing bridge. Imagine the fear of being 80 years old and realizing your bank account is hitting zero. Imagine having to choose between the medication you need and the heat in your home. This is why we see more people in their 70s working at grocery stores or driving Ubers, not because they want to stay active, but because the million-dollar dream they were sold in 1990 turned out to be a mirage. The emotional weight of realizing that your success isn't enough to buy you peace is one of the greatest crises facing the modern workforce. It's a feeling of being betrayed by the very economy you helped build. Why is this happening? Is it just bad luck? Not exactly. This is the result of massive global economic shifts. For the last 40 years, the global economy has been fueled by debt and money printing. When the Federal Reserve pumps trillions of dollars into the system, the value of each individual dollar goes down. This devaluation doesn't happen all at once. It's a slow leak. At the same time, we have a global aging crisis. As the baby boomer generation retires, there are fewer workers to support the social systems they rely on. This puts pressure on Social Security and Medicare, making it even more vital and more difficult to have a private nest egg. We are moving into an era of what economists call the K-shaped retirement. On one side, those with assets, real estate, stocks, and businesses will see their wealth grow as inflation pushes asset prices up. On the other side, those who rely solely on savings or fixed incomes will see their purchasing power evaporate. The gap between having $1 million and being wealthy is the widest it has ever been in human history. So, where does this leave you? If you're feeling overwhelmed, you aren't alone, but knowledge is the only antidote to fear. The new number isn't meant to discourage you. It's meant to wake you up. You cannot rely on the financial advice of the 1990s to survive the 2030s. You need to rethink how you build wealth. It's no longer just about saving money, it's about owning assets that outpace inflation. It's about understanding that your most valuable asset isn't your bank balance. It's your ability to adapt and find new streams of income even later in life. The $1 million goal is dead. The new goal is resilience. It's time to stop looking at the finish line and start looking at the terrain. The road is steeper than it used to be, and the peak is higher. But for those who understand the new rules of the game, the view from the top is still worth the climb. The question isn't, will you have $1 million? The question is, what will that $1 million actually be worth when you get there? Start thinking about your strategy today, not according to the world as it was, but according to the world as it is. Thanks for watching. If this perspective changed how you think about your future, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more deep dives into the changing world of money and power. We'll see you in the next one.